What you are seeing right now is likely costing you money. The scene on this video may have been reported as a simple traffic accident, but a close look shows it's anything but. And even though you probably don't know a single person involved, your money could have wound up in their pockets. This scenario and others like it is enough for the FBI to launch an extensive investigation. They're looking at traffic accidents that are essentially faked, with people collecting big money from insurance companies for phantom injuries.
Investigative Mike Perlstein tells us how that drives up insurance costs for everyone. And the first report in a series we call Highway Robbery. Mike starts it off by taking us inside an accident that was no accident at all.
The Danziger Bridge, one of many routes commonly used by 18-wheelers passing through New Orleans East. Take a close look at the accident about to unfold in this video. 3 people said they were hurt when a truck from the local company Triple G Express sideswiped their car. They sued, saying their injuries resulted in more than $100,000 in medical bills. Triple G says it is evidence of a crime that happens regularly in New Orleans, costing drivers throughout the state millions of dollars on their car insurance. But Triple G has been fighting back, installing something the so-called accident victims didn't count on.
A lot of trucking companies are making the investment to put cameras on their trucks. That's self-defense.
This truck's video captured 2 vehicles parked near the foot of the bridge. As the truck maneuvers past them, the vehicles roll in tandem.
Come to find out that both vehicles were involved in it together and planned it. So that kind of tells you the story there.
Seconds after the truck clears them, a second video captures the moment right before impact.
One being involved in the incident fraudulently, intentionally, and the second vehicle, quote, being an innocent bystander.
The plaintiffs in that case didn't know that we had this videotape, and when we took their depositions, everybody in that car denied that they had stopped on the bridge.
After a year of court battles, accident attorney Daniel Patrick Keating and his law firm, Nugent Keating, withdrew from the case. After seeing the video, the plaintiffs abandoned their claim.
Those cameras right there saved somewhere between $150,000 and $250,000 just by capturing the fraud and us not having to go forward to defend it.
Baton Rouge attorney Doug Williams represented the trucking company. He says this is just one example of a rash of accidents being staged by a connected circle of con artists, fake fender benders that contribute to Louisiana's high insurance rates.
There are the ones we all run into time and time and time again in New Orleans.
2 weeks ago, the U.S. Attorney's Office indicted 5 people for insurance fraud in an almost identical case.
That they have pulled these pieces together and that the information continues to grow. And hopefully a lot of people will be held accountable for this.
The indictment spells it out. 6 days before the Triple G accident, 4 people from Houma claimed they were hit by an 18-wheeler in almost identical fashion. Same location, same claim of being sideswiped, same claims of soft tissue injuries requiring extensive medical treatment. And the same attorney, Daniel Patrick Keating, who demanded $1 million each for the 3 passengers, according to the indictment.
And it's always interesting, the 3 or 4 people all seem to have the same injuries and the same treatment needed for all of them.
Here's what was even more interesting to the feds. On the day of the accident, Keating was on the phone with this man, Damian LeBeau, including one call just before the accident. These calls are outlined in this counterclaim in the civil lawsuit. LeBeau was arrested and charged as the ringleader in the accident.
When you take the videotape, you take the phone records, you take a number of other things, including Mr. LeBeau's background and his involvement with an accident just 6 days earlier than ours, the pattern becomes pretty clear.
LeBeau has a history. After serving a 7-year prison sentence for manslaughter in the 90s, LeBeau emerged as a plaintiff in 5 accident lawsuits in 8 years. LeBeau settled his claims, but when his relatives and associates started filing almost identical accident lawsuits, sometimes with LeBeau as a witness, defense attorneys started connecting the dots and fighting back.
That it is their position that this is all one giant scheme, that this was an ATM machine that was set up by one individual or several individuals.
In the accident case under indictment, phone records were obtained by attorneys for the trucking company. Those records show a series of calls between LeBeau, the passengers in the car, and the attorney, Keating. Channel 4 legal analyst Chick Foray says the red flags were obvious.
We know that there were phone calls immediately prior to the accident and immediately post-accident, right after the accident, where Damian LeBeau is talking to Daniel Patrick Keating.
The indictment goes even farther. It says LeBeau actually drove the car into the 18-wheeler, then had one of the passengers jump behind the wheel to pretend that she was driving, while he claimed to be a witness. After giving statements to police, the group met with Keating, who is identified in the indictment only as Attorney A. Attorney A paid LeBeau $7,500 right after the accident. Subsequent settlement payments to 3 of the 4 passengers are now the basis for 5 counts of wire fraud.
At some point, somebody's going to cooperate. It may be lawyer A, it may be Damian LeBeau.
Keating has not been charged. His attorney, Brian Capitelli, declined comment. Gilliatt, recently named president of the American Trucking Association, says the indictment exposes what his industry has been fighting for years. He says that truck drivers who pass through New Orleans are always on guard.
New Orleans, quite frankly, is known across the country as probably the worst area for fraud.
Lana Venable of Louisiana Lawsuit Abuse Watch says that fraud is a big factor in Louisiana having the second highest car insurance rates in the country.
When that system is abused, we all wind up paying the price tag.
State Insurance Commissioner Jim Donnellan says the cost of this type of fraud is $600 a year per family. But the ongoing federal investigation may chip away at that. Here are some of dozens of lawsuits that have been flagged as possible fraud. And while only one case has led to an indictment so far, that is anticipated to be just the tip of the iceberg. Exhibit A, in an unprecedented move, 8 of those accident suits have been stopped in their tracks by federal judges because they are part of the ongoing criminal investigation. Mike Pearlstein, Eyewitness News.
Neither Damian LeBeau nor his attorney could be reached for comment. And tomorrow, Mike is going to show the extent of the lawsuits that were flagged as questionable, how authorities say the scam operates, and exactly how this is costing you on your car insurance.